no doubt that Thailand's queen at Miss Universe this year is a pure standout. Some people have been waiting for this woman to represent Thailand at Miss Universe for years, and let me just say that I won't be surprised if Veena actually ends up winning Miss Universe this year. It's being held in Thailand even, which is even more exquisite because obviously if Thailand were to win Miss Universe in Thailand, imagine the chaos. It would be absolutely amazing. But with Veena being Miss Universe Thailand this year and also Miss Universe being held in Thailand this year, I thought that this was a special opportunity for me to go through the actual history of Thailand at Miss Universe to see what Thailand has going on when it comes to Miss Universe and their history. Thailand actually did not compete at the very first Miss Universe. They were present at Miss Universe from 1954 with Amara Asavananda, who was 18 years old. She was the second runner-up at Miss Thailand 1953, and unfortunately she went unplaced at Miss Universe 1954. But what's interesting is that her father was Thai and her mother was French, so she actually was mixed. And as you'll see throughout this video, Thailand went through a lot of political issues back in the day. So unfortunately, from the time when they first competed at Miss Universe, which was 1954, for about 4 editions after that, Thailand didn't compete at Miss Universe due to political unrest. Despite the military dictatorship that was going on in Thailand from 1955 to 1963, there was actually a woman who represented Thailand once during those years in 1959. Sodsai Vanijvadhana, who was 22 years old, was appointed to represent Thailand at Miss Universe 1959, but she was actually never officially recognized as Miss Thailand. She unfortunately went unplaced at Miss Universe 1959, meaning that she did not make the top 15. But she did get the Miss Friendship Special Award at Miss Universe that year. After their short stint at Miss Universe 1959, Thailand was missing once again for a couple of years. In 1963, the dictator actually passed away, and so things began to relax a little bit in Thailand. And so it was actually possible for Miss Thailand to start holding pageants once again and sending women to Miss Universe. After missing out on 4 editions of Miss Universe, Thailand was back with a bang in 1965. Apasra Hongsakula, who was only 18 years old, was crowned Miss Thailand 1964, and she went to Miss Universe and won Miss Universe 1965. So Thailand actually got the crown only on their 3rd try at Miss Universe. In 1966, it was Cheranand Savetanand who was representing Thailand at Miss Universe. She was 24 years old, and she was actually the 2nd runner-up at Miss Universe 1966. And to me, she is just stunning. I mean, she comes across as very modern. Unfortunately, the crowned Miss Thailand 1966 couldn't go and represent Thailand at Miss Universe because the organizers of Miss Thailand 1966 actually felt that it would look bad for them to send this woman, and I'll get to why later. Prapuson was actually 16 at the time when she was crowned Miss Thailand, but she would have already turned 18 by the time that Miss Universe happened in 1967. It wasn't Miss Universe who disqualified her from competing, but allegedly Thai organizers saw it as a potential embarrassment that they had crowned her when she was only 16 years old, even though the minimum age requirement for Miss Thailand back then was 17. She did, however, compete at Miss Queen of the Pacific in 1967, but she went unplaced, even though she was Miss Congeniality. So, in conclusion, poor Prapuson did not get the opportunity to represent Thailand at Miss Universe, even though she should have been able to, according to the rules, because she had already turned 18. by the time that Miss Universe happened. The only problem is her organizers felt that it would be embarrassing for them to send her because the math wasn't mathing and they had crowned her when she was 16 and too young to compete at Miss Thailand, which had an age requirement of 17. In 1968, Thailand was back on the Miss Universe stage with Apantree Prayutsenee, who was 20 years old. She eventually ended up in the top 15 at Miss Universe 1968. In 1969, it was Sangduen Manwong who competed at Miss Universe representing Thailand. She was only 20 years old and she unfortunately did not make the top 15, so she did go unplaced, but she did get the National Costume Special Award that year. In 1970, unfortunately, once again, Thailand was missing from the Miss Universe stage. No one is exactly sure why Thailand was missing in this year. It could have been any number of things, including some political unrest in Thailand or something like that. It was happening for decades in the mid-1900s, shall we say. So yes, unfortunately, Thailand was missing from the Miss Universe stage in the year 1970. But in 1971, Thailand was back with Warunee Sangsirinavin, who was 19 years old. She was the crowned Miss Thailand 1969, who was supposed to participate at Miss Universe 1970, but she went unplaced nonetheless at Miss Universe 1971, and she also didn't receive any special awards. In 1972, Nipapat Sudsiri, who was 21 years old, represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She was the crowned Miss Thailand 1971, and unfortunately she did go unplaced and unrewarded at Miss Universe 1972. In 1973, Kanok On Bunma, who was 20 years old, was representing Thailand at Miss Universe. She unfortunately went unplaced and unrewarded as well at Miss Universe 1973. From 1973 to 1983, there was no Miss Thailand pageant held in Thailand due to a whole number of things actually, but boiling down essentially to social and political unrest in the country. Even though there was no Miss Thailand pageant held, Thai women were still sent to Miss Universe, only instead of having an actual Miss Thailand pageant, these women were handpicked and appointed. So from 1974, I would say Thailand's era of appointments and largely disappointments began. In 1974, the very first one of these appointed ladies was Benjamas Ponpashvian, who unfortunately did go unplaced and unrewarded at Miss Universe 1974. I think that she was likely appointed for her looks and grace, but she wasn't battle hardened and stage ready like a woman who would have had to compete at Miss Thailand beforehand. In 1975, it was Sirikwan Nantasiri who was appointed as Thailand's representative at Miss Universe. But she actually resigned quickly thereafter because she actually wanted to rather focus on pursuing her acting career. So in actual reality, it was Wanlaya Tonawanik who was Miss Universe Thailand in 1975, representing Thailand on the Miss Universe stage. But unfortunately, she did go unplaced and unrewarded at Miss Universe 1975. In 1976, it was Kateria Arikul who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. She was actually very active in the Thai entertainment industry before being appointed as Miss Universe Thailand, as was the case for many appointees during this era. Unfortunately, like many appointees during this era as well, she went unplaced and unrewarded at Miss Universe 1976. In 1977, it was Ladawan Inya, also known as Ladawan Intria, who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. She unfortunately went unplaced at Miss Universe as well, but apparently she was a former Miss Fayu Thailand. So she might have been selected for pageant history. In 1978, it was Pornpit Sakornvijit who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. She unfortunately went unplaced as well, just like many other appointees. And she was actually the former Miss World Thailand 1973. But she went unplaced at Miss World. She actually competed at Miss World under the name of Pornpit Sakorn Vijiara. In 1979, it was Wangduan Kurtpum who was Miss Universe Thailand. She went unplaced like all of the other appointees. And in 1980, it was Artitaya Pronkel who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. Of course, she went unplaced, but she did later become an actress in Thailand, quite the accomplished one. In 1981, it was Masufa Karpafan who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. She was only 21 years old. She went unplaced, unfortunately, and she also actually went unplaced at Miss World 1981, which she competed at later that year. In 1982, the appointee was Nipapat Tarapanik, who was 22 years old. She went unplaced, of course, just like all of the other appointees. And in 1983, it was Jinda Nernkang, who was 22 years old, who was appointed as Miss Universe Thailand. And she went unplaced at Miss Universe Thailand. Of course, she was the final appointee during Thailand's appointee era, where there was no Miss Thailand pageant held, and also no Thai representative who made the top 15, top 20 at Miss Universe. In 1984, of course, the first Miss Thailand pageant in a decade happened. Same old story. The political and social climate cooled down enough for pageants to become socially acceptable again. Not to mention, this is the 80s, you know, a very glam decade, and so there was of course renewed interest in pageantry all over the world. So Miss Thailand 1984 was Savani Pakaranang, and she was the crowned Miss Thailand of 1984 and ended up in the top 10 at Miss Universe 1984. So do not underestimate the power of competing in a national pageant. It will battle harden you. In 1985, it was Tarntip Pongsuk who was representing Thailand at Miss Universe. Of course, she was also crowned Miss Thailand 1985, but unfortunately, she went unplaced at Miss Universe 1985. In 1986, it was Tawiporn Klingploy who was representing Thailand at Miss Universe 1986. Unfortunately, she did go unplaced as well. In 1987, Chutima Nayana was the woman to represent Thailand at Miss Universe 1987, where she went unplaced, unfortunately. But in 1988, it was Porntip Nakarunkanok, who was only 19 years old, who represented Thailand at Miss Universe 1988. Of course, she was the crowned Miss Thailand 1988, and she was the winner of Miss Universe 1988. So yes, just as things were looking very bleak after 3 years of non-placements, Thailand finally won Miss Universe in 1988, their second win since 1965. Not only this, but she also won the award for Best National Costume, which is amazing. In 1989, it was Yonlanda Ronghanam who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She unfortunately did go unplaced at Miss Universe 1989, but she did get the second runner-up title at the National Costume Competition. In 1990, it was Pasarapon Chaimongkol who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. Obviously, she was Miss Thailand 1990. She did go unplaced at Miss Universe, but she did win the Miss Photogenic title. In 1991, it was Jiraprapa Savetanand who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. Unfortunately, she did go unplaced. In 1992, it was Orn Anong Panyawong who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She went unplaced at Miss Universe, but she did get the first runner-up title in the national costume competition, and Miss Universe 1992 was held in Bangkok, Thailand. First time it was held in Thailand, and she later became an accomplished Thai actress. So don't feel too sorry for her for not placing at Miss Universe 1992 when it was held in her country. In 1993, we had Chatarika Ubonsiri, who was 21 years old. She was, of course, Miss Thailand 1993. She went unplaced at Miss Universe 1993, unfortunately, but she was in the top 10 when it came to the Best National Costume. In 1994, we had Arya Chumsai, who was 22 years old, representing Thailand at Miss Universe. She was actually born in the USA to Thai immigrant parents. She was Miss Thailand 1994, of course. She did go unplaced at Miss Universe 1994, but she received the Miss Kodak Smile Special Award. After Miss Universe, she became a second lieutenant in the Thai Royal Army. In 1995, it was Pavadi Vichinrat, who was 20 years old, who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. Unfortunately, she did go unplaced at Miss Universe 1995. In 1996, unfortunately, there was no Miss Thailand pageant held due to the passing and subsequent mourning of Princess Srina Garindra. And a lot of people don't know this, but Thailand actually does have a royal family, and whenever a member of the royal family passes, it triggers a period of national mourning where public life is supposed to reflect, sadness and grief. You're basically just supposed to keep it respectful, and things like beauty pageants, which is, a joy-focused event, is not really acceptable in a time like that. But even though there was no Miss Thailand held in 1996, a woman was still appointed to represent Thailand at Miss Universe. Miss Universe Thailand 1996 was Nerachala Kumya, who was 19 years old. She was in the top 10 at Miss Thailand back in 1995. It's unknown why a runner-up of Miss Thailand 1995 wasn't selected instead. Perhaps she was just the most suitable available candidate, but even so, she went unplaced at Miss Universe 1996 anyway. In 1997, it was Sangsuda Lawan Prasert who was crowned Miss Thailand 1997. She was only 19 years old. Of course, this year they held the pageant again because the year of mourning for the late princess was over. She unfortunately did go unplaced at Miss Universe 1997, but she did later become an accomplished Thai television actress. In 1998, it was Chalida Tauchili who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She was 24 years old. Unfortunately, she did go unplaced at Miss Universe 1998. In 1999, it was Apisamai Srihangsan, who was 24 years old, who represented Thailand at Miss Universe, but she unfortunately went unplaced as well. 1999, unfortunately, was the very last time that Miss Universe Thailand was selected by the Miss Thailand organization. Since 1954, it has always been the Miss Thailand organization who was responsible for sending a candidate to Miss Universe. But in the year 2000, the organizations changed, and the newly established Miss Thailand Universe was much more streamlined and modern, which perhaps is what the major Miss Universe organization was looking for more. Kultida Yen Prasert, who was 21 years old, was the very first Miss Thailand Universe winner ever. She was crowned Miss Thailand Universe in the year 2000. But unfortunately, she couldn't get a placement for the new organization on their first try because she went unplaced at Miss Universe 2000. And in reality, just because a new, fresh, modern, streamlined organization took over the Miss Universe license in Thailand didn't mean that they were getting placement after placement after placement. In fact, it took them 6 whole years to finally start finding their footing at Miss Universe. So in 2001, the crowned Miss Thailand Universe Varintone Fadungvati, who was 24 years old, went unplaced at Miss Universe 2001. Yanyira Yanchomi went unplaced at Miss Universe 2002. Yawalak Traisurat went unplaced at Miss Universe 2003. Morakot Kitisara went unplaced at Miss Universe 2004. Shananpon Rosyan went unplaced at Miss Universe 2005. But she did actually win the national costume competition, so that was something, and perhaps, you know, a sign that things were about to get better. And in 2006, finally, the new Miss Thailand Universe organization got a top 20 placement at Miss Universe with Charm Osatanond, who was only 19 years old, and she later worked in Thai television. Success continued with a top 15 placement at Miss Universe 2007 with Farung Yutitum, who was 20 years old. But in 2008, Thailand went unplaced once again with Kavintra Potiak, even though she did win the best national costume. In 2009, there was once again no placement for Thailand at Miss Universe with Chutima Durongdesh, but she was the Miss Photogenic winner at Miss Universe 2009, and she actually got third place at the national costume competition at Miss Universe 2009. In 2010, Fonchip Wacharatraku went unplaced at Miss Universe as well, but she was the winner of the Miss Photogenic award as well as the national costume competition. In 2011, it was Chanya Son Sakonchan who was representing Thailand at Miss Universe. She got the third place at the national costume competition, and she was actually the final Miss Thailand Universe to walk the Miss Universe stage before the organization rebranded to Miss Universe Thailand from 2012 onwards. In 2012, after the rebrand, it was Farida Walker, who was 19 years old, who represented Thailand at Miss Universe, but she unfortunately did go unplaced. In 2013, it was Chalita Yemwanang, who was 25 years old, but she also unfortunately went unplaced. In 2014, the crowned Miss Universe Thailand was Weluri Detsayabut, but she actually resigned, you know. She was crowned Miss Universe Thailand 2014 and everything, but she actually got pressured to resign after social media posts of her speaking out against and criticizing members of the Red Shirts political group in Thailand came out, remarking that they should be executed, etc. The political climate in Thailand has always been a bit tricky, and by her comments, it made it seem as if she were on the military/royalist side. The public backlash and pressure on her and her family caused her to relinquish the title and the opportunity to represent Thailand at Miss Universe 2014. So at Miss Universe 2014, it ended up being Pembongkot Changke who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. Her alias is actually Alison Sansom, and she was 20 years old. She was obviously the first runner-up at Miss Universe Thailand 2014, but she did go unplaced at Miss Universe 2014. After the unfortunate results of the past couple of years of Thailand at Miss Universe, at this point, from 2015 onward, Thailand finally started enjoying some success at Miss Universe again. In 2015, it was Anipon Chalemburanawong who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She was 21 years old, and she actually got into the top 10 of Miss Universe 2015, which was Thailand's highest placement at Miss Universe since their win in 1988. She won the national costume competition as well with her adorable tuk-tuk costume. In 2016, it was Chalita Swansene who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She got into the top 6 at Miss Universe Thailand 2016, and she was actually the fan vote winner as well. In 2017, it was Maria Punlitlap who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She went under the alias of Maria Erin as well. And the success continued for Thailand at Miss Universe 2017 because she actually got into the top 5 at Miss Universe 2017. In 2018, of course, the Miss Universe pageant was hosted by Thailand for the third time, and it was Sophia Kanchanarahan who represented Thailand at Miss Universe 2018. She got into the top 10 on home soil. That must have felt so good, and you guys know that this is one of my favorite editions of Miss Universe ever. In 2019, it was Pawinsuda Druin who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She got into the top 5 at Miss Universe 2019, of course, and she actually is a bit of a pageant veteran. I mean, she was first runner-up at Miss Thailand 2013, second runner-up at Miss Universe Thailand 2017, and she was actually top 8 at Miss Earth 2017 as well. In 2020, of course, the gorgeous Amanda Obdam represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She was in the top 10 at Miss Universe 2020. Miss Universe 2020 was held in May 2021, of course, due to that global illness that we do not speak the name of. And she was previously in the top 10 at Miss Thailand World 2015, top 10 at Miss Grand Thailand 2016, so she was just a much anticipated candidate. In 2021, Angeli Scott Kimmis represented Thailand at Miss Universe. She was unfortunately unplaced at Miss Universe 2021, but I did like her a lot because she's interesting. She was Thai-Australian and she advocated for body positivity, as if she was ever that much bigger than anyone else, but anyway. In 2022, it was Anna Sanam Iem who represented Thailand at Miss Universe, one of my favorite Miss Universe Thailands ever. She went unplaced at Miss Universe 2022, which still boggles my mind because to me she was just so perfect. But she did receive the Social Impact Award. In my opinion, she really deserved to place. And anyone who disagrees can go argue with the wall, because how do you give her the Social Impact Award and she looks like this and she walks like this, but she's not worthy of placing? Like, the math is not mathing. In 2023, of course, it was Antonia Porsold who represented Thailand at Miss Universe. Of course, she is amazing for having previously been Miss Supranational 2019. She was the first runner-up at Miss Universe 2023, it ended up being. But it left many people questioning whether it was appropriate for a woman to continue competing even after she had already won a major international pageant. In 2024, of course, the most recent girlie to represent Thailand at Miss Universe was Opal Sukata Chuangshri, who was 21 years old when she competed at Miss Universe. She ended up being the third runner-up at Miss Universe, but she was dethroned because she was later appointed as Miss World Thailand, which is just as well because, of course, she ended up winning Miss World 2025. And she also was a silver finalist in the Voice for Change competition at Miss Universe 2024, which I'm not surprised because she advocates very strongly for breast cancer awareness and support. And now, the woman of the moment, 2025, Thailand has the gorgeous Veena Praveena Singh representing them. I think that this is amazing. She is probably the most anticipated Thai candidate at Miss Universe ever. She is actually of full Indian heritage, which I think is so interesting, and she won Miss Universe Thailand on her 4th try, so she definitely deserves it. She's a divorced woman, which is also interesting when it comes to Miss Universe Thailand, and she has a massive support base, so she's definitely not lacking any fans when it comes to this year's Miss Universe Thailand competition. So yes, going into Miss Universe 2025, I feel like with Thailand's amazing candidate competing and the pageant being held in Thailand, knowing Thailand's pageant history is sort of a bit of required reading, I feel it's important to know the history of the places that we're looking at when it comes to Miss Universe. And also, if Veena ends up winning Miss Universe this year, it would be nice to know the legacy that Thailand has at Miss Universe already. We already know that they won in 1965, 1988. Could 2025 be the year that Thailand finally wins Miss Universe that would be so interesting. I feel like it's been a long time coming because Thailand has had such amazing women competing at Miss Universe for the past, I would say, 10 years or so. So it definitely wouldn't feel out of place just because Thai women have been stepping it up at Miss Universe. Let me know what you guys think. If you have anything interesting to add to this video, please do so in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Bye!